All right, from the top.
All right, something you've, oh my goodness, got caught. No. I think this is one of the parts I meant to reword when I was running through it because I kept stumbling through it. Should I say 21 to 22? My words just didn't come out. Ready, here we go. What's up, Collide? Today I get the honor of wrapping up our series, How to Forgive. And I'm excited for where we're going with this conversation. Man, forgiveness is a big deal. It's something we all need to give and receive at different points in life. But it's also something that doesn't always come easily. But to start, think about something you've waited for really, really long that you really wanted. Maybe it's your birthday, Christmas morning, the release of a new video game, or the start of summer break. Got it? See, waiting is tough, especially when it's for something important. You might feel at times that time is just dragging on forever, and all you can do is just sit there hoping that what you're waiting for finally happens. And sometimes, even when that thing finally comes, it doesn't feel as great as you expected. Now imagine if someone told you that in order to get that thing you want, you had to do something difficult first. Would you still want it? Would you be willing to go through the challenge to get the reward? That's a little like what forgiveness is. It's something we want, something we know is good, but something that isn't always easy to choose. So I remember waiting for holiday meals as a kid. Man, Thanksgiving, Christmas, we were all about the food. But the waiting was brutal. No other meals were allowed to be eaten that day, so my stomach was growling like a pride of lions. Then right before we could eat, someone had to pray. And in my family, man, people prayed long. And if a long-winded person got picked, we were doomed, right? That waiting felt like forever. I would sit there trying not to stare at the food, hoping that whoever was praying would keep it short. But no, they would keep going and thanking God for every single thing they could think of, and I was starving. And even though the waiting felt endless, man, in the end, the food was always worth it. And that's what I want to talk about today, food.
What?
Nah, I'm just kidding with you. We're going to talk about waiting because forgiveness can feel the same way. Like waiting for something you really want, but not knowing when it will come. One thing we all share in life are those remember when I moments. Here are a few examples. Man, remember when I caught my siblings taking my stuff? Remember when I got left out of the group chat? Remember when I found out my parent was leaving? Remember when my teammate shoved me on the field? Man, those moments hurt. And even if you wanted to forgive, the feeling didn't just disappear because forgiveness takes time. It's the same exact thing when you needed forgiveness. Remember when I got caught cheating on my math test? Remember when I snuck out and lied about it? Remember when I started a rumor? See, in those moments, you weren't just waiting to forgive, you were waiting to be forgiven. And that wait can be just as hard. You might have apologized, but the other person still needed time, and that's frustrating because we want things to be fixed quickly, don't we? We want things to go back to normal, but sometimes forgiveness doesn't work that way. So, is forgiveness even worth it if nothing seems to change? That's what we're going to answer today. Peter, one of Jesus' closest friends, had a very similar question. Check this out in Matthew 18, verse 21 through 22. It says this, "Then Peter came to him and asked, 'Lord, how often should I forgive someone who sins against me? 7 times?'" So let's stop here for a second. 7 times? That sounds like a lot. Like once seems fair, doesn't it? But Peter thought he was being extra holy by suggesting 7. Jesus, however, had a different take. Let's pick back up in verse 22. "No, not 7 times, Jesus replied, but 70 times 7. For my math people in the room, that's 490 times. Jesus wasn't giving us an exact number to count to. He was showing that forgiveness is a process. It's something we do again and again until something changes. Not necessarily in the situation, but in us. Jesus knew that forgiveness wasn't about keeping track of wrongs or setting a limit on how much grace we extend. Instead, he wanted Peter to understand that forgiveness is a lifestyle. It's a continual choice that we make to let go of bitterness, resentment, and anger even when it's hard. Because forgiveness takes time. Sometimes it's instant, but often it's a daily choice. Jesus invites us to choose forgiveness. Not because it guarantees things will go back to normal, not because it makes everything feel okay immediately, not because it fixes the situation, but because it changes our hearts. The hardest part of forgiveness, it requires vulnerability. That means being honest and open, which can be uncomfortable. When you forgive someone, you're taking a risk. You're risking being hurt again. You're risking the possibility that they won't even acknowledge what they did. And when you're waiting to be forgiven, you're in a vulnerable position too. You don't know how long it will take or if the person will even choose to forgive you. But choosing forgiveness over and over again is choosing Jesus' best for us. So how do we practice forgiveness when it takes time? Man, it takes practice. Forgiveness isn't a one-time thing. It's a daily decision. Think about how you practice in sports, music, or gaming. You don't just get good at it overnight. You put in the work, you build up the strength. The same is true for forgiveness. It takes repetition to make it a natural response. Number 2, man, you can ask for help. You don't have to do it alone. Talk to a trusted leader, a parent, or a mentor. Let someone walk with you through the process. You don't have to figure it out by yourself. Number 3, it's okay if things change. Forgiveness doesn't mean things go back to the way they were. Sometimes healing means change. Maybe you need to set boundaries with someone who hurt you. Maybe you need to take time before trusting them again. Forgiveness doesn't mean ignoring what happened. It means choosing to move forward with a heart that isn't weighed down by anger. No matter where you are in the process, forgiveness is always worth it. Why? Because Jesus showed us that it's the best way forward. He forgave us completely, even when we didn't deserve it. And when we forgive others, we reflect His love to the world. Imagine what could happen if you chose to practice forgiveness. If you trusted Jesus enough to let it take time. Maybe someday you'll look back and say, man, remember when I chose forgiveness and things got better over time? That's a story worth telling. And don't miss this. When you choose forgiveness, you're also choosing freedom. You're choosing to live without carrying the weight of anger or bitterness. That doesn't mean forgetting what happened, but it does mean you're no longer trapped by it. And that kind of freedom, man, that's something Jesus wants for you. So as you head to small groups, I want you to think about this question. What's one way that you can practice choosing forgiveness this week?